What's up, guys? Maybe I'm gonna try putting this up here. Let's see here. Oh, much better. It's kind of a glare though, right? Is that better? Kinda? All right. Let's move this around. See if this is better. Yeah, that's kind of better. Seems like it anyway. How are you guys doing today? Oh, so pretty excited. Doing a live unboxing, as I told you guys I was going to start doing. Let me move this. Whenever I get packages in, I want to, do a live unboxing. So, really cool thing about this one is, this is the last species of boa that I plan on working with. Trevor, hey, I don't know if rare is the right word. I would say that they are a species of sand boa, but they are not one of the more popular species of sand boas. So I guess, yeah, I guess they are kind of rare. There are people that are working with them here in the U.S. and elsewhere, but not too many people have them in their collections. So the really cool thing about these is I really wanted to get into these for a very long time, and this is actually going to be the last species of boa that I work with. So I currently work with Amazon tree boas, Corallus hortulanus, and then the emerald tree boas, the northern shield versions, Brazilian rainbow boas, just those three. And I'm really drawn to the South American stuff and the Central American stuff. If some of you may know this, but I used to live in the Amazon basin of Brazil. I lived there from 2000 to 2002. So I spent those 2 years traveling around the states of Amazonas, Acre, Rondônia, and Roraima. And so those 4 states, I traveled around and lived there for 2 years. I'm fluent in Portuguese. I have a very strong fondness for the Brazilian culture, for the Brazilian people, and I love the wildlife that lives from that area. So that's why I really, really enjoy working with Corallus and some of the species that come from that region. That being said, rough-scale sand boas have always been kind of a unique species to me, So, oh yeah, Trevor, I did used to work with a lot of carpets, and I do love the Australian and the Indonesian Papuan stuff. But since I lived in Brazil, I just really have a fondness. So this is, sorry, I'll go off on a tangent real quick. So when Brian Barczyk started getting his sleeves done, I had planned to have a sleeve done in all South American animals. And so I thought it was really cool that he was doing it, but I was a little bummed because I hadn't gotten to my sleeve yet with all the South American stuff. So I've had that kind of in mind for a few years, so before he got his done, but I'll probably still do it, but I'm just putting it out there, not copying him by any means. His tattoos are very, very nice. But yeah, back to the rough scales. So the rough scales have always been on the list for me. I've always wanted to work with them. I'm not interested in the Kenyan sand boas, but Conicus I'm really, really interested in working with and have been for a few years. They don't have all the morphs. As you guys know, I'm not a huge morph guy, but I thought it would be really cool to work with them because they just have a very unique pattern, and I'm a real sucker for pattern and for contrast, and these guys definitely fit the bill on that. So my goal is to, for these species, to start out with 3 pairs, and if I can't produce with those 3 pairs, then I kind of look at it as maybe that species isn't right for me. But anyway, yeah, so first of, I guess it would be 3 pairs. And I want to go ahead and get to this and show you guys the animal. So this is actually coming from Rob Zirkle. Rob Zirkle of Zirkle Reptile Company. You guys may know him for all of his work with the Asian rat snakes and stuff like that. He's got probably one of the most diverse collections in the world of Asian rats. But he recently purchased a collection off a friend, and this animal is in the collection, and I really just couldn't pass it up, and I've always wanted to work with him. So this is a female, and as I told you guys, ultimately I'll have 3 pairs and that's kind of my goal with the carpets, with the Brazilians, with all that stuff. And some of those animals I already have 3 pairs of, but you know, those are the breeding groups I want to start with, and then obviously as I produce hold back animals here and there, and so forth. So anyway, without further ado, I'll go ahead and open this up. Let's see here. You know, maybe I should angle this down. Let's see if maybe that would be better. Maybe I should do that. I don't know. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see these pretty well. Funny thing about California is, California, as anyone knows, is an exception to everything. If you don't label the species on the outside of the box, then you will, they will get detained by Fish and Wildlife. So, but yeah, this is, I don't even know how to spell or say the last, or the species name, Gongylopus, I don't know, but I just call him Conicus because that's a lot easier. All right. Okay. Any of you guys want to get in touch with Rob? Really good dude. Here's his card. Hopefully it's focused somewhat. But put this in here. Now these guys I've heard can be a little cantankerous. They're pretty easy going, but out of the blue they can just turn around and pop on you. So, oh my goodness, so cool. How about that? They're so unique from any of the other species of sand boa. Oh man, so unique. That's why I like them. Look at that pattern. It's just so cool. This girl might get me here in a second. Yeah, I know. That's why I like doing it. Never gets old. But so cool. Look at these guys. Oh, and it got me. I've heard they're kind of like that, but it's not too bad. I'll probably get tagged again. But anyways, just thought you guys would enjoy this. Roughscale sand boas. Very cool. Not very big. You know, these guys are going to burrow down. They're ambush predators, so you're not going to see them a whole lot, but they're going to ambush prey and be kind of buried in a lot of ways. You know, they like to burrow down under the substrate and stuff like that. So anyway, super stoked to have her. And hopefully you guys like. So, you know, their head's very small. You know, their eyes are positioned at the top of the head. It's not really focusing, but you guys can kind of see. The eyes are at the top of the head so that they can kind of let that stuff hang out of the substrate, and then they can ambush. So anyway, Roughscale sand boas, I love them, and put these guys back. Put this girl back. Sorry. Ugh. Awesome. Was there some comments? Yes, they are African, Trevor. So that's kind of what I was saying before, why I was talking about South America, is because my true passion is with the South and Central American stuff, and these guys are an exception to that. This is probably the only boa species I'm going to work with that isn't from the Amazon. You know, my corrales, be it Amazons or emeralds, all come from, you know, the Amazon basin. Same with the Brazilian rainbows. They just are a terrestrial species, whereas the others are arboreal. These guys are African. They're in the same family as they are a sand boa, so they're in the same family as the Kenyans and the Arabians and the there are a few other species in that. I'm not super familiar with all the species in the sand boa genus. Like I said, they're not really my thing, but I really do like the rough scales, and they have keeled scales, kind of like Woma pythons and rough-scale pythons, which is why they call them rough-scale sand boas. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. She is a little stressed out, but these guys are gonna top out, you know, like 2 to 3 feet. So they're not gonna be very big. So let me take this top off. But I just love contrast, and when it comes to pattern like that, I just think that's so cool. So cool. Give you guys one last shot. The belly, the side. She's alert though. She'll probably get me again. Yeah, I love earth tones, and these guys have always grabbed my attention because of the earth tones. So put her down here on the ground. Actually, let me put her on this styrofoam, show you guys the contrast, and maybe you can see what I'm talking about. Perfect. She is stressed, so flattening out, kind of jerky movements. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put her up. If I have babies, I probably will not sell any from the first litter, but I'm a ways off from that. So this is just the first, the first one. I'm actually not gonna pull the scrubs out. The scrubs are both opaque right now. In fact, one of them refused feeding this past weekend, so I'm really not gonna mess with them. They're both deep in shed, so they don't even look that great right now anyway. But I will show you guys them once they shed. But have any of you guys worked with rough-scale sand boas before? I kind of wanted to throw that out there. Anyone? Maybe? Maybe not? Okay. Well, if you guys have, definitely shoot me some information, your experiences, pros, cons, things to avoid, things to do. I'm always open to learn more about the species that I work with, but really stoked to have these, and especially to now have all the boa species I plan on working with. The only one I would consider getting, maybe Argentines. I used to have a massive Argentine female, which again is a South American species. Um, and I really miss them, but they get really, really big. And I'm just not in a place right now where I have the room to bring on a species of that size. Really, the big species that I have are my scrub pythons. So um, once I get into a bigger reptile room, get a bigger reptile room, I might look at bringing on a pair of babies, maybe a couple pairs, but um, you know, the species that I work with right now are for boas are obviously the rough-scale sand boas I just started acquiring, Amazon tree boas, emerald tree boas, which is another project I just started getting, and my Brazilian rainbows. As far as pythons go, I have the southern uh, uh, Muruk locale scrub pythons, which are Somalia amethystina. Some states actually require a permit to keep them. I also have the Papuan carpet pythons, Harrisoni, or Harrisoni, however you say it, and they are the Irian Jaya. But they don't live on the island of Irian Jaya. It's kind of a weird thing. They're actually on the island of West Papua, Papua New Guinea. So Papuan carpets is kind of what I call them. So I've got those, the scrubs, and then I have Woma pythons. And the Womas are probably my favorite. And then I have I'm acquiring a group of Bloods. And the only species besides those that I might work with at some point would be, I used to work with Bredli. I might get a pair of Bredli, and I really, really like diamonds. They're like my favorite next to Womas. So for the most part, most of that stuff I have, and the other stuff that I've wanted to work with is just kind of like odd and end projects. Like I'd like to get some peacock monitors because I love Varanus. I'd like to get some more crested geckos because they're just really fun. And there's a couple tarantula species. I'd love to get just one specimen of those, like a vicularia, the versicolor, Singapore blue, and probably my favorite terrestrial species are the Brachypelma albiceps, which are the golden red rumps, Mexican golden red rumps, which are really cool. So, you know, there's a monitor species I'd love to get, a couple tarantulas, more crested geckos, and I'd love to get a pair of, or a couple pairs of the Macedonian tortoises. They're calling them the golden Greeks, but there's no such thing as a golden Greek tortoise. So they're actually Macedonian, but they're a dwarf Mediterranean tortoise that gets gold, very easy to keep, tolerant of dips in temperature. So I'd like to get some of those, and then there's some colubrids that I really want. I've really been into colubrids lately. I'd love to get some green bush rats, or what's the cave dweller rats, Ridley-eye. They're like one of my favorites. Kunashir Island rats. These are Asian rat snakes, just so you guys know. The northern green rats, which are those are the only domestic species of colubrid that I really want to work with. The Centicolus rudicalis, I think, is the name of it. But they're the northern green rats, and then the yellowtail cribos. But you know, this is long term. You know, I'm trying to button up my projects, my Python and Boa projects first before I start. You know, you start getting too many things, and then you get sidetracked, and it becomes really hard to focus. And then you've got like little pieces of groups everywhere, but you don't really have a solid group together where you can really try and breed them. So so that's why I'm making sure that I'm focusing on the pythons and the boas right now, and I'm not really dabbling outside of that. We do have a reptile show coming up in October or end of September. If I saw something there, I might snag it, but I'm not putting a whole lot of emphasis into that. Hope you guys like the live feed. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I've got to go meet my boss. and drop something off. So I gotta go ahead and wrap this up, but hope you guys are doing well. Make sure you're taking lots of vitamins. We've got the flu running through our house, so I think it's like a 10-day strain. So you guys be careful and make sure you're taking appropriate vitamins and washing your hands and watching out for all those germs. That was my mom moment. All right, take care, and I will see you guys Friday. Adios.